I don't know if we're live. More than likely, it
We are
seems to
live.
start.
We're
Oh,
live.
it is live. Thank you, Shamim.
Yeah.
So let me just explain to everyone. This is so exciting. So who am I? I'm Adrienne Barker. You may see me now on Shamim's Spotlight. So what I'm doing is I'm really just helping this wonderful celebrity liaison named Shamim, who's got his own show, Shamim's Spotlight. We're debuting it here right now, and it's going live on my page, and it's also going live on Shamim's page. So Shamim's Spotlight show, and Shamim's got his guests all lined up. Totally cool. He just told me something so amazing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to hand the microphone right over to Shamim. I really wish I had a fake one so I could go like that. Shamim, take the mic away.
Well, okay. Hello, everyone. This is Shamim, host and Adrian's co-host of Shamim's Spotlight Show. Today we're here with my good long-time friend Scott Zakrin, and Scott is one of the nicest guys I ever met, and that's no lie because we connected over his comic book the movie. Basically, so Scott, how did we meet exactly?
So I'd been hearing, hey Shamim, hey Adrian, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
I'm very excited. You guys are both really lovely people, and I'm very excited also, Adrian, to go back and listen to some of your last podcasts, and I can't wait to see what Shamim does with his new podcast. So with that said, so we met because I kept hearing from people, hey, do you know there's our posters being signed? What do you mean? They're like, yeah, there's a fan who has been figuring out who is in the movie and then figuring out people who are in the movie just because they were in the movie as opposed to one of the stars. And it kept opening it up, and it became this really special project that people were talking about, which was, what would you call it? The comic book, the movie poster project? Did I get it right?
So that's pretty much, actually the inspiration came from the movie, actually. So, yeah, so who was talking exactly about it?
Who was I talking to? Well, Eric Middleman was one of the guys who told me about it. Roger Rose, who's in the movie, said he had heard about it because a lot of the guys who were in the movie were voice actors. So a lot of them worked together. So they talked.
So like Billy West talked to them and.
Well, that started. Did you want to know the story there?
Yeah. So how do my things got to you? That's the thing. I never know if it got to Mark Hamill yet because no one tells me anything because that's the one thing.
I'm guessing Mark has seen it. I haven't spoken to Mark in ages, but I'm guessing he has seen it based on the amount of people that are on it.
The thing is, if I don't know if he wants to sign it, that's the thing because no one knows.
I promise you, I'm saying this live. If you were to ask Mark, he is the loveliest guy. He loves his fans. I've seen him jump out of the car at Comic-Con to see a guy dressed as Superman because he wanted to tell the guy that this is the spirit of Comic-Con. These are the kind of people that, this is all made for. They're the ones who drove it. And Shamim is that kind of guy. He's one of the great highlights of that kind of thing. He's a present fixture. He manages to charm all these people, and very impressive. I mean, then sometimes he'll call me and said, "Hey, I'm talking to Tom Kenny. He says he's up for doing a sequel." I'm like, "Oh, that's awesome." So yes, really been a forward guy for me.
Yeah. So Roger Rose was the one who first heard about it. What you say?
And Eric heard about it. He had told me, and then like I said, so then I got an email from Shamim, and he wrote me like he already knew me.
Facebook message, remember?
Yeah. And then I absolutely remember it. And he's writing to me, and I think he had gotten through to me through Eric. And he basically, I'm like, this guy, I'm like, oh, hey, I'm a fan of the show. Next thing I know, he's sending me photos from the thing. He's got this information about it. And I'm like, this is very impressive.
There's one.
Oh my God.
This is just the DVD cover. And here's the script.
This is for anybody who I guess is listening to it audio only. Shamim is showing this off. Is this audio only also?
Oh no, we're just live video.
Live. Got it.
So this is the script along with basically Yeah, so my original goal, once I saw the movie on Netflix in 2000 and I believe 14, it got on Netflix. And then since then, I said to myself, why not try to get everyone, the main cast of the movie? But at the time, I was looking through the cast and saying, why I can't get Jonathan Winters because he was at the time 2014 no longer around. Then I wanted to get
Sid Caesar.
Sid Caesar, start with Mark and run down the list. I bought the poster from eBay for $2.99, and then I got the poster and I said, "Who's the simplest to get?" I said, "Tara Strong is going to be at BabsCon 2014." So it started off with Tara. She signed it for free because she signed my Hello Kitty guitar.
She is, by the
And
way, the she's in the top tier of women voice artists in the business. Tara Strong.
yeah,
Awesome
and
girl. Awesome
yeah,
young woman.
and then after Tara Strong, that was the first one who signed it. April 19, 2014, and then I waited at Big Wow Comic Fest. That's where I saw Bill Morrison, Scott, Sergio Aragas, the Mad
Sergio
Magazine,
Aragonés from Mad.
and Mike Mignola,
Yeah,
Hellboy. He was in the scene,
he was in a scene.
and he signed that poster. Those are the first three, and then I went to Phoenix Comic Con, the big con 2014. That's where I met. That's where the posters started rolling. I got the creators of ElfQuest, Adam West. He loved it so much he signed it twice, and he said, "Why aren't I in this film? I should have been in this film." And he told Bert, so him and Julie signed it for free, and then he said to Bert,
Burt Ward, who plays Robin.
yeah, so he told Bert, why me and Julie signed it. Don't be a pussy, okay? Sign the poster.
He's the
And
greatest, man. He is so funny.
yeah.
He is
So
so
that's where I've met my friend Mike Durshaw. Me and Mike Mike signed the poster because he loved. At that point, it had about 150 autographs on it, just at that show. And then after that, I just went to SAC Anime 2015, met Billy West and Jim Cummings. Billy and Jim told stories about that poster.
right.
They both loved the movie. They both said, if there was a sequel, count us in.
No, you heard it here.
Yeah, Jim Cummings said, James Arnold Taylor, this was at
all guys.
EmpireCon 2019, said, if it wasn't for JAT, the movie would have been anything because James Arnold Taylor saved the film in some ways. Yeah, and so
he was in one scene.
Because his charm saved the movie.
Yeah, he's
so in 2017, right before I met you, I went to San Diego Comic-Con for the first time. So there I met on the I took that to Comic-Con and had a lot of people sign it there, including the two lates. One late John Rogers, the president and CEO of Comic-Con, and Stan Lee. Stan Lee had to fight his own management to sign it. Max Max is one of the
Did you tell
most.
Stan it was for me?
Yeah, I told Stan Scott would like you to sign this. The only way he signed it is because his daughter signed it,
Right.
JC Lee.
JC.
So JC signed it. Then she told her dad, "Please sign this for Shamim." He said, "Next time I will." But the first time I wanted to get him to sign it was at Phoenix Comic Con. But Max, he wanted to, pen ready. Max said, "No way, because this is not your film." And then after that, I reached out to you and Eric about the poster and said, I'm trying to get as many people who was involved with the film as possible. Right. And then we met at Lazy Dog.
We met at the Lazy Daisy.
Lazy Daisy.
That's when we got to meet your Shamim's family.
Yeah,
my sister, great parents.
Yeah,
I didn't get to meet his child, and you guys married, a girlfriend?
Girlfriend. Yeah, me and Christy are just co-parenting right now, but Adrian is almost now 2.
Wow.
No, actually almost 3.
Did you name Adrian after Adrian?
I named Adrian after this Adrian. It's funny enough. Hold on. Let me get this.
By the way, hey Matt
Adrian
and hey Ryan, you got these guys in the chat room. Do we know Matt Clark and Ryan Ramsey?
Hey Matt Clark, hey Ryan. So Matt Clark is a producer in Minneapolis. He does the Twins baseball games, and and Ryan is a musician and a autograph collector as well. And Neil Accord he works at Target as a business consultant.
Are you going to have these guys, Shamim? I'm sorry. Are you going to have these guys on your show?
Yeah, in the future we're going to have Neil on. We're going to have Ryan on. Basically,
got some good people.
Yeah, so this is where I named Adrian.
Got it.
Off of this show, and this is my my Miraculous Ladybug cast signed Adrian figure for Adrian. So okay, after Stanley, I had John Rogers. You met John before?
No. Can we talk about about you and me?
Okay, sure. So so for Scott, we actually, before Comic the Book the movie, I actually saw this first.
Oh yeah.
Before Comic Book.
Yeah. So he's holding up Stan Lee's Mutants, Monsters, and Marvels in case you ever take this to audio. Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, and this was Mike's favorite film. And
that's William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy in Leonard's backyard doing.
This was a very good documentary. Learned that William Shatner never signs in public anymore.
Yeah, no, he's because he's like, are you going to sell it?
Yeah, and the other
he would write their name on it, which he would buy, Dear Adrian, regards William Shatner. This way, personalized rather.
Yeah, versus Leonard.
Yeah.
And Leonard would sign anything for anybody. He was that type of guy, because what I learned from the documentary, he said he knew what it was like to be a fan and how he wouldn't want to do that to the same fan. And I love seeing Nimoy's collection he has with his hats, and I also enjoyed seeing Stan's museum of his stuff. That was amazing. And
that's right. We shot a scene in his house.
And
that's when I gave Kevin Smith a check for his work, and he says, "Why are you giving me this?"
Yeah. And
why he had so much fun?
Oh, Shamim, no.
And this is, I've seen this.
Right.
This was interesting. This was an interesting film. It's actually based on Carrie
Love it.
Fisher's book,
Yes.
Postcard from the Edge.
Postcards from the Edge, exactly. I saw
Yeah.
when I was on the set, I saw Meryl Streep and Carrie Fisher hanging out, and Carrie Fisher's running down the street, screaming like, ah! She was very
Yes. So
I want to hear Shamim. Wait, I want to hear the story of how Scott got on that movie as an extra, because I want to hear that, if you don't mind, Shamim.
Yeah, I was just
go ahead.
Literally just moved to LA from New York. Mike Nichols was a big fan. Excuse me, I think he was a fan. I was a big fan of Mike Nichols. The Graduate's like my favorite movie, and somebody said to me they're looking for extras for this movie, and I'm like, oh, I'd love to be on the Mike Nichols film. And also, I was, just in LA and poor and trying to figure out what I was doing. So it was a good place to meet people. And then they squirted blood on me, fake blood, by the way. And they basically put me into the Dr. Death costume, and I get to be in that shot. So it's not on my resume. It's not on my IMDb, but I guess when you tell Shamim something, you got to be careful, because Shamim.
Yeah. So that was 1989, right?
Yes, I think so. Actually, you're right. You're
right. What about Batman? What's the story with
Adam?
With Adam West?
Adam West. Whoa.
Yeah. So in the case of Adam, I started this thing called Entertainment Asylum for America Online. And his manager called me and said, do I want to meet him to do something? I'm like, oh yeah, I want to meet him. I was a huge fan. And he came in and he was hilarious. He was hoping to do the Dark Knight movie. He thought that the Dark Knight, Frank Miller's Dark Knight, would be perfect for him. It would have been a different take, but it's interesting. So he was really into it. He loved Batman. So he was in my office. We hung out. And then I was like, I did this thing with William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy. What if we do something like that with you and Burt Ward, who played Robin, which is very interested in. But something happened before that is I came up with this idea called Forever Heroes, which was going to be like Lou Ferrigno and Linda Carter, and all the original superheroes were going to be fictionally playing new heroes. And Stan and I were going to write it together. And so we were writing this thing, and I knew that I had to get back to Adam West. So I went back to his manager, and I sat with him while I explained this to him. He was wearing dark sunglasses. He was like, I'm like, I just read Bert's book. It's pretty crazy. He's like, oh my God, that book. It's all true. That book. I mean, he was just a nut job. And when I directed him finally in Cinderella's Daughter, he was such a joy, to the point where he was sick and he had the flu, but he didn't want to let me down. So he actually came in and did the part that day. And, there are very few people like that. I can't tell you the rest of it because I imagine this is a PG rated show. So
darn it, kids, leave the room right now.
Yeah, exactly. I ain't telling this story. By the way, I'm writing my memoir. It'll be in there.
Yeah. So Scott, what's his management? I know some celebrity agents. I know one person who you might spoke to, John Alcantara, who wears dark shades. He's or it could be Max. Stan's management.
I know Max. I actually was Stan when he started POW. We had just done Stan Lee's Mutants, Monsters, Marvels, and we were shooting Comic Book the movie at the same time. So I ended up in a limo with Stan. We picked him up because we were treating him like a star. And his manager and his lawyer partners, they were all on one side. And me and Stan were there, and we got stuck in traffic. So I spent 5 hours talking with Stan about everything, whether it was, philosophy, God, religion, politics, people, where the creative outlet. And he also, a couple of things he told me, which I'll reveal here, is that when we were talking about the first Spider-Man movie, he said to me that the thing that bothered him, there was 2 things that bothered him. What do you think they were? 2 things that bothered him about the first
Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, there's 2 things that bothered him about the movie. He loved Tobey. Tobey was at the premiere with us after. Anyway, 2 things. What do you think from the original Spider-Man that Stan was not happy with? Adrian, I know you don't know much about this stuff, so I won't. It'll be Shamim. So he didn't like the Green Goblin's mask was hard, so it didn't show the expression on his face. He didn't like that. And he also didn't like the fact that in that movie, he didn't have web shooters. He shot it out of his, wrists. And he didn't think that made any sense. So his He said I had worked out. Jim Cameron was attached to direct that movie originally. And they worked it out where he was working on a solution for high school because it was so hard to believe that some kid could invent this. So he was working on this rubbery solution for high school. And once he got his spider powers, he started to connect how to make it. That seemed to make more sense. But other than that, I love that movie. The first Spider-Man.
Yeah, me too. That was how I first fell in love with comics, from that one movie.
It was the best.
And so for
we're on the DVD, Shamim. Caleb and I are on the DVD extras.
For the Spider-Man?
Yeah, we were on the set and Caleb was dressed as Spider-Man. And I was talking to the Spider-Man, ended up being on E. We didn't even know it. And so it's on the DVD.
Yeah. So I met the wrestler that was in the scene. Scott Schwartz.
No, I know Bruce was in that scene.
No. The
actual wrestler.
The underground fighting scene.
Yes.
The wrestler that fought Toby.
Got it.
He worked with Jim. Was it from Mask and
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey, and he worked with Roger Moore in Bond, and which George Clooney. So he's currently on my DVD. That's the next. So from there, so my question is, who was first cast in Comic Book the Movie? The very first person signed the contract.
That's interesting. So I had partnered with Roger, Jess, and Billy initially.
Uh-huh.
Right? So really, they were producing partners for me from the beginning. Then I said to them, if we can get Mark in this film, it would be pretty interesting. I know he's a huge comic book fan, and he's an icon. And they worked with him. They all worked with him because he was the Joker. He's the voice of the Joker, and they were the voice of Billy West, is the voice of everything. So there's
So
those were the first people to come on. Those first ones, Billy and Jess, then Mark.
And then Mark came on, and then tell the process. Okay, so it's you three, and then how did Kevin get involved, and then Stan?
This is for another podcast, and we should probably get one of you guys on there. I know
next episode.
See, to me, what I love, I know Adrian helped you workshop the idea for the show, and I love the idea of you talking about how you met your friends. It's one Adrian Shamim has this birthday party every year on Zoom. And it's like, I thought he'd have a few people. It's like, oh my God, hey Shamim, what's going on? They're making signs for him and things like that. I'm like, man, this kid's popular. Young man, excuse me.
Yeah.
So I think he's got some really interesting friends, including like a couple of guys who played Chewbacca.
Peter Mayhew and Andrew Nelson.
Yeah, Peter was in the script in the movie.
So what Angie did for me. I met Angie back in 2009 when I was 15. Then she stayed friends with me ever since then. And then at Peter's Memorial in LA at EmpireCon, she signed for Peter on the poster. So giving herself for Peter, saying
she was
signing for Peter, and I got Ryan, his I believe his son-in-law.
Right, that's a proxy.
Yeah. So at Peter's Memorial, it was one of the nicest memorials you've ever been to. Okay. So I was like the family guest. I got to sit with Angie, her daughter Katie, and I got held his Chihuahua dogs. And they showed a clip from Force Awakens, and then had all of Peter's friends and family talk, and then afterwards they played In My Life for the end. And then so that's where I met Chase Masterson for the first time. So Chase said some really great things about you.
Yeah, I
He
love
said,
Chase.
she said that Scott has the nicest bald head she ever seen. I don't know at
Everyone
the
says that.
time. Yeah, and she said, if there was ever a sequel, count me in too.
Yeah, she's great. We did a
So,
couple of things together, Chase and I.
yeah, so yeah, pretty much. And then there, JAT signed the poster for free. Him and Jim Cummings talked back and forth, and how his character and JT's character, like at the drunken scene,
Yeah.
yeah.
Genius.
So he said that was his favorite scene to shoot.
Oh,
Talking with
the Green
go
Fairy
yeah. So back and forth. James,
in the
this is
world.
my
That was.
this
That
is
was one. He was one of those guys.
and this James said, this is my favorite movie too. This is my highlight of my career.
Well, he was
The
fun, and he
movie.
was also in Talkbusters, your other friend, right?
Yeah. Last blockbuster film. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, Sandy is gonna. I need to talk to Sandy. My plan's gonna have Chris and Sandy on for a future episode to talk about. Yeah, that's an interesting story. So for Scott, so does Adrian, do you have any question for Scott?
Well, wait. First of all, who was Tobey Maguire's girlfriend in Spider-Man?
That is Kristen Dunn, right?
Oh my
Kirsten
God.
Dunst. Kirsten Dunst.
Oh,
Kristen
okay,
Dunn.
sorry. She is lovely, and because like I have a girl crush, total.
Yeah, no, we saw her at the premiere. I was Stan's date at the premiere, and we saw her at the premiere. She was like a goofy kid. You wouldn't even know she was a movie star.
That's so awesome.
Yeah,
So.
no,
What are
she
you
was.
working on now? Like,
Well, I just finished Superhero Diaries.
That was amazing.
Yes, we are. I'm sorry.
That's amazing. That is one of the coolest thing I ever seen. Actually, I wonder what Adam Westwood would say about that.
Oh my God, he would have been on it. That's why there's nobody like Adam West, unfortunately.
So
He just-
what would he be, Batman, or would he be Batman? Or would he be Alfred?
That's interesting. I mean, the guy who played Alfred is a guy named Patrick Bristow, who's you probably know. He's been on a ton of things. You may know him from Sweet Life, Shamim.
Yeah.
And he's in the Groundling. So he played Alfred. He played a really funny Alfred. But you got a good creative mind. You got a good producer's mind, Shamim. I got to tell you.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about how we met. I want to talk about how there you are. We met at the Lazy Daisy. Eric meets there. We sign the poster. We meet your family. And then you and I are walking back to my place because you wanted my son Caleb, because he was on the DVD, to sign it also.
Yeah.
So we went. Caleb was very honored, by the way, to have somebody ask him for his autograph. So thank you for that.
Right, here's Caleb.
No, I love that kid. And then we're walking back, and he said, "Yeah, I really like that Spider-Man shirt you have in the."
Caleb.
It's like, I really like that Spider-Man shirt. That's cool. You know where I can get one? So I basically said, "Here."
wait, you gave Shamim your shirt?
Yeah, and he's wearing it now.
Off your back? Off your back?
No, it was he had seen it was in my closet, and I showed him. Oh, check this out! I wore this at Comic-Con that year.
So Shamim walks. Where are you guys that you walk back to your place? Are you at a hotel?
We're in Brentwood in California, Los Angeles.
So you needed to, I think, walk your dog.
That's right. And I think we did that. And then Caleb came down. You asked him to sign that, which he was honored. And that's why he did, because he's in that Spider-Man thing. That's true. He's in that too. He's in the extras on that too.
Yeah. And then he's here as well. And then he's on.
I have a gift for you, which I have to get this storage thing, but I have a arrow for when we all signed the autographs. Like, go this way, comic book the movie with the arrow, and a handful of us signed it, including Hamill. So I'm going to send that to you as soon as I get a chance. I'll send that to you and a few other things, because Shamim's one of the great collectors. He has this. He seems to he collects business cards, but he makes it so personal.
Okay, so let's talk. Comic book the movie 2. How would you? Who would you? I know Mark would want to be on it for sure. Tom Kenny,
All
Billy
those guys,
West.
if they would come back, I would. It was the most fun. Those guys
Um,
are the
do you-
most. Let's say it to be clear: the voice guys in that movie and the voice artists in this town are the most talented people you could ever find in Hollywood.
yeah. So I'm actually Facebook friends with Billy.
Yeah,
That close. Yeah. So Billy and I talk once in a while. Billy was also on. He does a very interesting Mike Love impersonation. Off of his
you could also play that.
45.
Yeah, no, Mike. He does everybody. I mean, he does all the voices on Futurama, save a few. And Phil Lamar, who works with us in Superhero Diaries, who works
Green Lantern.
Yeah, right. So we're trying to create those places where there's the fantasies of the fans are fulfilled, and that's one of the great things about Shamim is he has a sense. Shamim, you have a sense of those things. You have a sense of the people who would be most interesting.
I think Hannah should be in Comic Book the Movie too.
Oh yeah, there's no question. Hannah plays Harley Quinn, by the way, in Superhero Diaries, and she was.
I picture this: Hamo and Hannah walking together for a panel. Joker and Harley Quinn. And no, I mean Mark, not as himself, but all Joker attire.
You'd have to get
Harley.
Mark.
Yeah, Harley. Wait. So his wife also worked on the film.
His wife was on it. Yeah, Mary Lou. Mary Lou. She was great. Honestly, it was great having her. It was great having her as part of it because she really helped keep things organized. Because we had to go and we had to get hotels, which is crazy. Adrian? Yes.
I have a question. So I'm just thinking to myself, so a movie is done, like I really love the movie Joker with Zakrin.
Very good.
I thought it was amazing, right? But then it's like over, and then it's like it just feels like I feel like it should be like up forever. What happens? How do you keep a movie alive, like comic book? How do you do that so that it will always stay on? And are you glad to get on Netflix, or is that like a good thing or a bad thing? Because I'm not even sure.
At the time, I was very glad to be on Netflix. The thing I didn't like is we always have masters of the movie that doesn't have text, like in the lower third. And the reason we do that is because different countries, when they buy it, need to change it for their name. And they aired the one without the text on it. So Peter, what's his name? The writer who did Supergirl. I can't remember. I had a lot of really noteworthy name people. Harry Harryhausen. We had Grodin's, who created
Matt
Simpsons.
Groening.
Yeah, just on and on. We had these great people, but unless you don't recognize those people because they're not in front of the camera, so it was hard to do that without the thing. So I was a little frustrated by that, but that will change now. We are talking about the idea of it's probably a little too early to talk about, but what can be done with the original, because it really was something. I mean, if you were to go back and get the history of Comic-Con and watch it through this mockumentary, I mean, this is the year when everything sort of just switched. It went from the comic book fans, to they were interested in TV shows and things like that, and all of a sudden, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man changed that all. But I can't really talk about the movie. It certainly is one of my favorite projects in the world. But if there's a chance that movie ever has a sequel, it's because of that guy over there.
Right here, look at this.
That guy right there. That was that year. Yeah.
A friend of mine gave this to me, not including that.
Yeah. That is a comic book the movie poster that we had for
and then he gave me this.
Oh wow.
How long was the project? How long did it take from concept to finish?
We spent a lot of time developing it, really wanting to make sure we got it right. That same team, the producers team, with Eric and Jess and Billy and Roger and Mark. Now Mark is such a comic book aficionado that he created Command of Courage. So Mark created Command of Courage as a way of getting his documentarian into the story. right? So it really was a bunch of different people who really led to it. But if there's going to be a sequel, if there's going to be something, Shamim is going to be. It would never happen without Shamim. Yeah, let's put it that way.
So yeah, so pretty much, yeah, and Scott gave me
Oh, I did.
that as well. I think you did
I had those. I think I did actually. I think I did. I think when you came over, we got a bunch of stuff. Which you're the most fun to give anything to. There's nobody more fun than to something to Shamim because he's so appreciative.
He gave me this as well.
And he doesn't just collect it to get an autograph. He collects it in a way that says you're important.
History. All about the historic.
Well, my parents have a museum in Connecticut. It's their private collection of cartoon memorabilia. My mom passed away in 2017 and my father passed away in 2019, and they would have loved Shamim and they loved the collection. And my dad loved Stan Lee, and he was lucky enough in his gallery. We have an art gallery that he had a lot of art from Stan Lee and a lot of art from some amazing artists. And when Stan Lee passed away, I'll never forget, my dad called me, Adrian, did you hear the horrible news? Yes, Dad. Do you know what we need you to do with all the pricing? I said, of course, Dad. We lower the price. And my dad said, absolutely. And that is what really made my parents' gallery, because my dad felt that the minute an artist passed away, you don't raise the price. You lower the price to honor the artist and allow people the opportunity to purchase. So people were buying these amazing Stan Lee's pieces signed for like an incredibly low price. And it was really like so many people, I think they went like that once people heard, because I'm in Daytona Beach. It's not like, the most popular, but for the Stan Lee artwork in a mall that really has, like you wouldn't think that anybody in this Tanger Outlets would have the Stan Lee, but we did. But anyways, I wanted to share that story because my dad really was very fond of Stan Lee, and we could tell as gallery, we could see his handwriting slowly, declining a little bit. You could really tell the difference. What about you, Scott? How are you making sure that your signature is not being duplicated?
I don't think my signature is in demand, right? It's in demand amongst fans, but I've always tried not to be in front of the camera. I mean, I have because I've made so many things, but for the most part, I want to be known for the work, and I'm hoping that the work goes on, and I don't want to be in front of the scenes. Now, Stan, on the other hand, loved being in front of the camera. So I actually shot him I have a cameo of him in one of my movies. Actually, aside for that, called Cinderella's Daughter. I don't know, Shamim, if you ever knew that.
Oh, so yeah, so I've seen the cover. It looks very interesting. It looks like a different take on the Cinderella story.
Yes, there's a comedy take of the daughter's adventures, and Stan played the priest that married the Cinderella and the prince. And he did this, and he does Excelsior at the end. So if you if you go to Scott Zakrin Video Collection, all those things are on my site. So there is.
Speaking of Masters of Mutant Monsters, I love that poem Stan read.
Oh,
that is amazing poem.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So for you, Scott, a few questions. I don't think you've been asked before.
Okay.
One, how many autographs do you get a day?
Me?
Yeah.
I get maybe a few a month because I'm not out there. I have 3 different things that seem to get the most. The one that gets the most is a children's musical I did when I was 23 called Creating Remlazar. I never go a week without that one being signed. Then the second one is Comic Book the Movie. And then the third one, so it's like comic movie Stan Lee, that's kind of that area. And then the third thing is I created the first web series called The Spot in 1995. So those are the 3. If I'm going to get, I'm going to see comments, I'm going to get email and things like that. I also see things on some of my videos, some of the comments that are live. So at the end of the day, I have the kind of fan base I want. They know my work. They know that I'm going to be, I don't need to charge for autographs or anything. I just want to be there and people.
Okay, so
I have a question.
Anybody would pay for it. Adrian, how much you got? I'll give you an autograph right
now. So what was this like? The reality live? What was that about? What is that? So
virtual reality. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that actually is one I could probably spend a little time in hell for. I did I did a movie with all reality stars. That was, if you remember, there's some people from Survivor and Real World and Bachelors, and I put them together. I cast all these reality stars, and the show was the making of that. They all lived in a house, and because they were the craziest reality stars, they did some crazy stuff, and we put some of it in the show, which is probably beyond what we should have, and there's some of it that can never go in the show.
Well,
But
when was this?
really well.
What year was that?
It's about 10 years. I have also on Scott Zakarin's video collection. If you guys want to check that out, I have a couple of videos from there, including one where I brought my kids on the set when they were, younger. And
Oh, I saw that. I saw that.
You saw that clip?
I saw that. It's so cool to me because I am a reality star like lover. So I've met a lot of the survivors. They come to Celebration, Florida, actually to donate their time for Give Kids the World. So every year in the summer. Oh, and I know what MAB is. So when Matthew Clark asked, when will there be another Men in? No, I guess I'm wrong. MAB. I don't know what it is.
So
I was thinking Men in Black, but no.
So MAB.
What's going on there?
So MAB. Oh. Hi, Deb.
Hi, how are you?
This is
Good.
Adrian, and
Hi,
Shamim.
Adrian. Lovely to meet you.
Oh, it's so lovely to meet you. How are you?
Hi, sorry. Hi, Shamim. I was eavesdropping, so I decided to join and listen in. I know.
It's okay. So first, Deb, let me say your husband, Scott, is one of the nicest gentlemen you would ever meet. You're lucky to have him in your life, and you should just shower him with love all the time, because without Scott, there won't be no comic book the movie, none of these movies, ideas, projects. It's all Scott's, and why not? Let's showcase Scott, because he's the one.
Yeah,
who
you're basically. Shamim, as sweet as it is.
Let me just say, I totally agree. I think my husband is actually one of the nicest human beings that I've ever met. But I'm going to just one thing I have to clarify. He's really lucky too.
Yeah, I am so lucky. Honestly, the reality, there's. What did you just do?
I just did the thumbs up. You just.
I thought you gave the fist.
I saw Adrian. I saw Adrian.
So Scott, here's a question for you and Deb.
Okay.
Two questions. Actually three. One, if you could meet anyone, who would it be and why?
My wife, Deborah.
What is your both happiest moment in your life?
Oh, our children. Anything with
children. And what is your favorite part of your jobs?
Wait, what was that
favorite
last
part
one?
of your job?
What is your favorite part of your jobs, both of you?
Oh, for me, I would say that I get to be creative and work with really wonderful people.
Deb is a children's book
publisher.
So she does, and actually, when I send him the care package, we should find a couple books that Shamim would like. There's some really good collectors.
Books?
Great. I will get that for you.
Definitely. So Deb actually wrote children's books?
Yes, I have. I've authored many of them.
Oh, here's a story that you would love to hear. Okay. So my late grandmother, when I was about 4 years old, I was a huge fan of Arthur and still am. So when she was living, she made me a very special, one of a kind, her own illustration version of Mark Brown's book. But this book is Arthur's Lost Library, but it never got a book release. So recently I reached out to Mark Brown myself, showed him my story. He and his wife, Lauren, both signed my grandmother's book and gave me a photo with them together and included her business card. And she also, Mark told me that my grandmother's illustrations are one of the best he ever seen more.
We got to show it. You got to put it online.
That's great. I'm
Wait,
so
wait. 1 second. I let me go get this special book. One sec.
You got it. You got
Okay.
it. So, Adrian, while we hear, the reality is Shamim is probably the first person who made a fuss over the fact that she's so lucky, because everyone, it's like, yeah. And honestly, I am the luckiest guy in the world, Adrian. I got it.
Okay, guys.
Oh,
Okay, guys.
That's beautiful.
Adrian. Okay.
Oh, what are we seeing? Oh, this is the book?
This is it.
That's
This
cool.
is the book that she hand drawn.
Wow.
And illustrated.
Put a few of those pictures on your Facebook.
I
happy
did
to hear
already.
that, Shamim. He has a
I
Mark
did.
Brown actually has a very nice reputation in the industry, what I've heard, and so now to really hear it firsthand from you
Yeah.
really confirms it.
So
which is
here is the example what he was saying.
wow.
On the right is my grandmother's drawing. On the left is his drawing.
Oh, that's great.
And here's like example of her illustrations.
Wow. Shamim, you really are a connoisseur.
And this was this was made. Look how, and I still got it today.
That's beautiful.
1997 on my birthday, and she hand drew all that, and that was my birthday Christmas gift for 24 years. I still and this past June was the first time this book ever has left my possession.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that was a very special TTM I got, because I've been trying to get this since 2002. But this was one of my favorite things I had a goal to get done since 2002, when I was about 8 years old. And so pretty much, so Scott, who would you want to meet that you haven't met yet?
Paul McCartney.
oh,
And would you get a photo or autograph from Paul?
I think I would just stare at him.
So
I probably wouldn't be able to eat. That's what I want to do. It's like the two people I'd like to have lunch with are Paul and Obama. Those are my favorites.
okay,
Michelle, add Michelle for me.
okay.
Now, if I could have-
Michelle for me too.
If I could have all of them
Yeah.
and Shamim, I know I would come away with great autographs.
So Deb, how about for you? Same thing?
I would
Or
say right now I would want to meet Michelle Obama and be able to have lunch with her.
And touch her shoulders, right?
Yeah, you know it. I'll go head to head with the guys.
okay, so
I don't know.
I really want to have fun. Maybe Oprah and Gail together.
oh,
Maybe
but-
Adrian, you and I can go meet them together. We can make it a foursome lunch.
oh,
So, wait, Shamim, can I just take 1 second? So,
Oh, yeah,
Deb,
sure.
so I really would like to get the information about, so you are a publisher, and are you also, do you have illustrators on your staff?
Yeah, so I'm the editorial director for an imprint of a publishing house. And we usually hire outside illustrators. We have in-house designers and editors. And then for titles, sometimes the editors write it, or we hire outside editors and writers. It's all licensed stuff that I do.
Okay, very cool. I'd like the information just in case if I could recommend you, that would be great. Shamim, I feel bad. I am very active in SCORE. I don't know if you're familiar with SCORE.
so
Scott and Deb,
okay.
but I do have to go, Shamim, because I have a SCORE meeting at 4 o'clock. I'm the proud chapter chair of our SCORE here in the Volusia Flagler area in Florida.
That's amazing.
Okay, let's end this on first off, thank you, Deb and Scott, for being my friend for as long as you guys are. And if you want to be a speaker for Adrian's SCORE, I think you guys both will be very good like with your knowledge. Yeah, so So Adrian, maybe you would like to have Deb on as a guest on your show if you want.
Always happy to have. I find it very fascinating. First of all, I think that is great, Shamim. Your story about your grandmother really just tied right in beautifully, and I thank you so much. We're really excited, Shamim. Your first spotlight show, so you don't mind? Let's all.
That's my man.
Yeah.
Shamim, you knocked
One
it
of my
out
best
of
friends
the.
in the world, Adrian.
Oh, I am so
Yeah.
glad. Shamim and I have only known each other actually for a little over a month, but I would say the same thing. Shamim reached out to me after buying a piece of artwork signed by Frank Johnson and Ali and said, I just bought this artwork and I would like to meet you. And who's your dad? A poster. It's so beautiful.
It was for Frank and Ollie's documentary about Frank and Ollie. And her dad made so had a deal with them where he sends stuff to them, they sign it, they send it back. And I always wanted her dad's autograph in my collection. Since her dad, his museum, I bet you guys have a bunch of Batman stuff. Do you? In that museum?
Oh my God. So the museum is called the Barker Cartoon Character and Comic Museum. You can find it online at barkermuseum.com, B as in boy, ARKER. And it's my parents. It was the 80,000 toys that they collected. They created the grounds in a little town called Cheshire, Connecticut. They had murals painted. They did so much. They would have little movies. My parents at one point they would just have big parties and have all the different characters and give everyone hot dogs. I remember one day, 1,000 hot dogs they served. My parents loved kids. All they wanted was kids of all ages to go into the museum. And very proudly, my parents just, even though they passed maybe about a month ago, the museum was featured on the Today Show. So very excited. And if you look at Connecticut, it's one of the top 52 places to visit. And if you just Google Toy Museum in Connecticut, will pop right up. And yes, a lot of Batman. Actually, really, you would be surprised how much you will see of what the characters that have been in comic book, the movie.
And the last thing, you guys, before we go, I just have something I was thinking in my head. A very nice tidbit from what Adrian's dad said. When a celebrity passes away, you don't rise about the autograph's price, you lower it like she did for Stan. I bet that's what you did for Stan when he passed away in 2000 and what was it? 2018, I believe.
Oh wow.
It was 18.
Yeah, 2018, yes, because after that, Kara Spinney passed away on John Lennon's death day.
Yes,
so it was November 10th, 2018 to be exact for Stan. So is that what you did? Your dad did?
Always. My dad
sounds like you need Adrian as your guest on your show.
Actually, that's what we're going to do on October 8th. We're going to have a Adrian Barker spotlight.
Great.
And
I will be watching, and you guys watch too. You got that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, Deb.
Thank you. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Right.
Great job, Shamim.
It was an honor, guys. Thank you.
Always.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Shamim.
Bye, man. You're welcome.
Awesome. Good job, Shamim. Proud of you.